You know the feeling, right? You pop into the grocery store for just a few things: milk, eggs, bread. You even said it out loud to yourself in the car. But then 15 minutes later, you're back at your car, loading up a dozen bags, staring at a receipt and just thinking, what on earth just happened? It's a story as old as time. You go in with a plan, you have a list, you've got steely resolve, and yet somehow you walk out with gourmet cheese, some fancy seltzer water, and a rotisserie chicken that just smelled too good to resist. So what's the deal? How does this happen every single time? Okay, so let's get right into it. And here's the absolute most important thing you need to understand. This is not your fault. You are not weak. This is the result of a multi-billion-dollar industry that has spent decades perfecting the science of separating you from your money. It's all by design. This quote just nails it. The entire environment, from the floor plan to the music, is engineered by some very smart people to get you to override your own best intentions. But once you see how the maze is built, you'll never walk through it the same way again. So let's pull back the curtain and start with the very first layer of this design. It all begins with the basic layout of the store itself. The number one rule of the maze is actually incredibly simple, but it is brutally effective. The store's primary goal is to maximize your exposure to as many products as they can, and they do that by controlling the path you have to walk. I mean, stop and think about it. Have you ever wondered why the absolute basics, the milk, the eggs, the bread, are always, and I mean always, in the furthest possible corner of the store? It's got nothing to do with refrigeration or logistics. It is a deliberate tactic to force you on a grand tour through the entire store, past thousands of temptations, just to get that 1 gallon of milk. And does this forced journey actually work? Oh, you better believe it. According to the Food Marketing Institute, a jaw-dropping 60 to 70% of all purchases made in a grocery store are completely unplanned. They know that every extra aisle you walk down, every extra end cap you pass, it adds dollars to your final bill.
All right, so that's the big picture, but the manipulation doesn't stop at the floor plan. It gets way more granular. Let's zoom in and look at the psychology of a single aisle, even a single shelf.
You know that shelf that's right at your eye level? They call that the bullseye zone. Well, the products there aren't the best. They're just the ones whose parent companies paid the most to be there. They paid these things called slotting fees for that prime real estate. Meanwhile, where's the cheaper store brand? Almost always on the bottom shelf, forcing you to physically crouch down to save money. And just look at what a difference that placement makes. You can take the exact same product, move it from the bottom shelf up to eye level, and see its sales jump by 35% or more. That is the incredible power of making something easy to see and grab. And you know, it gets even more specific and frankly, a little sneaky. Marketers are very aware of a child's eye level. They know that a kid begging for that colorful box of sugary cereal is a powerful tool to get past a parent's rational brain. So guess where those products go? Right where they'll see them. But it's not just about what you see. Oh no, they're manipulating all of your senses, borrowing tricks right out of the Las Vegas casino playbook. Ever notice there are no clocks or windows? That's on purpose, so you lose track of time. That slow, calming music they play, it's proven to make you walk slower and can increase the time you spend in the store by almost 40%. That incredible smell of baking bread? Often fake, pumped through the vents to make you hungry. Even the shopping carts have gotten bigger over the years because research shows that with a bigger cart, you'll buy 40% more stuff just to feel like you've filled it. So we've seen the tactics, but what is the actual, real-world financial cost of all this engineered impulse buying? I'm not just talking about one trip. I'm talking about over a lifetime. The numbers? Well, they are genuinely shocking. So you've survived the aisles, you've navigated the maze, and you think you're home free. Not so fast. Now you have to enter the most ruthlessly optimized, most profitable piece of real estate in the entire store, the checkout lane. It's a trap, with narrow aisles that force you to wait, making you a captive audience for one last sales pitch. So why is this little area always lined with candy, soda, and magazines? One word: profit. These items have insane profit margins, somewhere between 40 and 60%. The store is literally monetizing your boredom and your fatigue while you stand there waiting. Okay, let's do some math. And let's be really conservative. Let's say you fall for these tricks and end up with about $180 worth of truly unnecessary stuff every month. Things you absolutely did not plan to buy. Now, $180 a month might not sound like a total catastrophe, but what happens when you zoom out? Over a 30-year adult life, that little habit adds up to almost $65,000. Think about that. That's a down payment on a house, a brand new car, just gone. Extracted from you one chocolate bar at a time. But wait, that isn't even the real number. That's just the money you spent. Here is the truly mind-blowing figure. This is what that same $180 a month could have grown into if you had just invested it at average market returns. Over $250,000. That is the real hidden cost of navigating the maze blind. Okay, wow, that is a heavy number, I know. It's easy to feel like the game is rigged against you. And in many ways, it is. But that does not mean you are powerless. Once you can see the maze, you can learn how to beat it. Here's your game plan. Here is your 5-step strategy. Number 1, make a list. And this is key, organize it by the store's layout to be as efficient as possible. 2, never ever shop hungry. It's the oldest rule in the book because it's true. Hunger destroys good judgment. 3, shop the perimeter of the store. That's where the fresh whole foods usually are. Avoid getting lost in those center aisles. 4, make a conscious habit of looking up and looking down on the shelves. That's where the better deals are almost always hiding. And finally, number 5, if you can, use the self-checkout. It lets you escape that final, tempting gauntlet of impulse buy. So, at the end of the day, a grocery store isn't just a neutral place to buy food. It is an environment that has been weaponized to make your best intentions fail. The milk is in the back for a reason. The candy is at the checkout for a reason. But now you see it. And seeing the maze clearly is your best defense. It's the first and most powerful step you can take to finally beat it.